my name is Kathleen and I am a 500-hour certified yoga instructor in Hermanus, South Africa. I'm super excited to have you here on my platform, and I'd really like to welcome you to this community. So to tell you a little more about why yoga or why I teach yoga, my journey started in my early 20s when I was diagnosed with bipolar. And at that point, I was a producer, I was in production, it was 18-hour days, it was waking up at 4 a.m. with Red Bull and cigarettes, and that was the drill. And obviously what happened, I think for a lot of us, is burnout, and went into having multiple anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and found myself literally locked in one of the wardrobes on set one day, and decided that day that I need to change my life. And obviously not knowing at that point where you go from there, where do you even start? And I'm very blessed and very fortunate that my mother actually asked me one day, well, a good place to start is to ask yourself, what do you love doing? And I said, well, the only time I'm really happy is when I go to yoga, when I'm on my yoga mat. And so that's where the journey started. I then did my 200-hour and 300-hour teacher training at a school called the Shala Cape Town Yoga School in Cape Town, South Africa. And I also ended up being the manager there for 5 years. So it's almost like I went into a 5-year intensive of not only learning yoga, but also teaching yoga and being surrounded by a yoga community, which really set the foundation for my journey moving forward. And I think that for me, what became very apparent the more time I spent on my mat was that yoga is not just something that you live on your mat. It's not just about those 60 minutes that you're there, but it's really what are you taking from your mat off into the rest of your life. And so what started as quite a physical journey for me, which I think it does for a lot of people, maybe you join yoga because you want to be more flexible, you want to be stronger, or maybe it's for anxiety, you know, it's a lot of physical things or mental things. And what I soon realized was that was very entwined with my emotional well-being and with my my energetic hygiene and my energetic well-being. So my practice has deepened very much into going beyond just the strengthening and the toning of the muscular and the skeletal systems of the body, which we need as well very much, and which is one of the biggest benefits of your asana, your physical yoga practice, but really going deeper, tapping into the sense of interoception, so feeling what's going on inside your body. It's that sense of when you see something beautiful and you get goose flesh, or if you're nervous and your stomach starts to churn. And so what really, became so apparent to me was, well, if my emotions and my thoughts and my mind are having such clear effects on my physical body, can't I use the physical body to turn that around to have a positive effect on my mind and on my emotional state? And so with that diagnosis of bipolar, it's been a very long journey up until now, but it really has been my key practice, and yoga cannot be separated from breath work. So I teach a variety of styles of yoga, really bringing in my own life experience as well as the education that I've received. So except for my teacher training, I've done multiple other trainings with teachers from all over the world that I've been lucky to train with, and doing extra little courses and training sessions and workshops and these kinds of things that brings it all together to be this experience of having knowledge in the brain, but embodying it. So turning knowledge into wisdom, so that it's not just something that you think or that you've heard or that you've watched, but it's truly something you believe to be true because you've experienced it. One of my favorite teachers, Thomas Sheehy, he is one of the co-owners of the Shala, always used to say to us, a lot of these practices are almost like scientifically unproven, but they are experientially true. And that's something that I see and that I've seen over the years with hundreds of students, is that I'm not sure I've really ever seen anyone get on their mat and leave a yoga session and be like, oh, that was the worst idea ever, I should never have come to class. That doesn't really happen, because even if you just give yourself 5 minutes to breathe, or a 60-minute strong, vigorous vinyasa practice, you will gain benefit out of that. And that is something that you take off with you off the mat. And so there are many different, as I mentioned, many different styles that I bring in. I teach vinyasa, yin yoga, restorative yoga, pranayama practices, meditations, and yoga nidra, which is one of my favorite practices. And these are the practices that I share with my students. And even though a lot of these practices seem like it's something that you come and do for those 5 minutes or 60 minutes or 75 minutes or however long you're practicing, the message that I really like to leave with my students is that you don't leave your yoga on your mat. But yoga really is something that you take off the mat into the rest of your life and into the rest of the world. And ultimately, you're really looking to empower yourself as your own healer, to be in a position where you get to know yourself, where you get to explore who you really are and find your purpose, find the meaning of life. And these all sound very esoteric when you talk about the meaning of life or what is my purpose, but ultimately, when we're looking to find peace within, when we're looking to have harmony and balance in our lives, authenticity and truthfulness are two key pillars in that. And the only way we can really find those is by quieting the mind, is by kind of closing off the outside world, pulling away from other people's things, other people's need, all the noise, the traffic, the emails, the day-to-day things. We live in a very chaotic, busy world. And so how are we able to reconnect? How are we able to really ground? And the practice of yoga being one that really is so beautiful in the way that it's for the individual, but ultimately for the collective. And so the work that you're doing for yourself, a lot of people speak of filling your own cup. As you fill your own cup, when your cup fills over and it flows over, it overflows into your relationships, it overflows into your career, it overflows into your home, into the life that you want to manifest around you, as within, so without. And so if there is chaos going on inside you, very often that manifests in things in the world around you. And what these practices do is they really just bring you back to zero, back to just a moment of pause. And I always say that yoga didn't change my life. Yoga saved my life. I do not know where I would be. And these practices are hard to stay committed to. Any kind of commitment and discipline, I think, is very hard. I know, I have a lot of women who are clients of mine, and if you're a mom, if you're juggling work, if you're juggling family, where do I create those 5 minutes for myself? But the moment you do, you realize that you create this internal capacity and space that then again overflows into the world around you. And so with this all in mind, it's been a process, it's been a journey of changing the offerings that I have, and where I've landed up is the Aligned Living membership or the Aligned Living platform. So the Aligned Living platform really is a platform that I've created to help empower you to be your own healer through education, through embodiment, and through self-mastery, really honing your own gifts that we all have been given in this world, in this lifetime. And so there's the video library on the YouTube channel as well, but also on the website where there's a lot more content, one-on-one sessions, live group Zoom sessions. I also teach in-person classes. One of my favorite offerings is my silent retreats. And these kind of keep growing and changing, especially over the last few years. I was unemployed in 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. I was unemployed and I was thinking, what am I going to do? And that's when my love for online teaching started. And I've just really grown to love it. So I've got students all over the world, from the States to Germany to the UK. And it's been just absolutely incredible to connect with people in this way. So I invite you to roll out your mats, to take some time, try out some of the practices, please feel free to get in touch if you ever have any questions. You can head over to the website as well. It's alignedliving.co.za. Or you can pop me an email. All the details will be in links below. And I invite you to step onto this journey of self-discovery, self-empowerment, and yoga will change your life. Not only because I know this, because it's changed my life, but because I've seen this with hundreds of students before. So thank you so much for joining and having a listen to a little bit about me and what I really, really love doing. And I look forward to seeing you on the mat soon. Have a beautiful day and lots of love.